Hey there guys, Nordic Warrior here. So I just got done watching the greatest fighter of all time, undefeated 50-0 Floyd Money Mayweather, fighting the greatest YouTube influencer person of all time, Logan Paul. This was the fight of the century, the most anticipated fight of, I'd say, the past 20-25 years. While Manny Pacquiao was wasting his time fighting the likes of Errol Spence and Keith Thurman and guys like that, nobody's really. Floyd is daring to be great and fighting Logan Paul and Conor McGregor, who was, I believe, 0-0, and the 0-1 Logan Paul. So Floyd Mayweather, of course, is putting in his work, doing the honourable thing and fighting the most credible challengers out there. The fight went 12 rounds. The only reason it went 12 rounds is because Logan Paul has the greatest chin in the history of boxing, so even the great Floyd Mayweather wasn't able to stop him. But it was a tremendous spectacle, an amazing display of heart and courage from Logan Paul, and a sublime, prestigious display of class and skill from Floyd Mayweather, man. All credit to Floyd. You all need to stop hating. He is the greatest, not only the greatest boxer of all time, but the greatest combatant of all time, the greatest hand-to-hand combatant. I mean, he beat the greatest MMA fighter that ever lived in in Conor McGregor. Now he's beaten the greatest YouTuber who ever lived in Logan Paul. So, yeah, Floyd Mayweather, even at the ripe old age of 44, has still proven himself to be the best of all time. True class, the head movement, the counter-punching, everything was all just better than ever. I mean, even at 44, man, Floyd could beat anybody in boxing. I mean, he was able to defeat the great Saul Canelo Alvarez, who nobody else was. He's the only one who's ever beaten him. And we know that it's physically impossible for any man born from his mother to beat the great Saul Canelo Alvarez because of his supreme head movement and counter-punching skill. Where do you think he learned that head movement and counter-punching skill? He learnt it from the great Floyd Money Mayweather. So, yeah, Floyd Mayweather, man, beating Logan Paul. What a tremendous event! What a tremendous fight! I'm nothing. I've got nothing to say other than praise. Floyd Mayweather is the pound for pound greatest fighter of all time. I said in my Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders review that Canelo is the greatest fighter of all time, but conveniently I forgot to even bring up the fact that there's a man who defeated Canelo, and that is the great Floyd Mayweather. A sublime boxer, amazing amount of class and defense and counter-punching. Logan Paul had like a 50-pound weight advantage, about a 7.5-inch height and reach advantage. It was a massive dude in there, man, and yeah, he was just too big for any normal man of Floyd's size and stature, but the great Floyd Mayweather proved himself to be the greatest of all time. And yeah, like I said, Manny Pacquiao, that hype job, that joke, the catchweight king, that the bum, he's fighting the likes of Errol Spence, and he wants to fight Crawford and guys like that, Keith Thurman, wasting his time fighting all these, nobodies, essentially, whereas Floyd, he's daring to be great. He is the greatest of all time. The counter-punching, the left hook from Floyd Mayweather, whether it be to the head or the body, was fantastic, and Logan Paul was really trying his best and trying to take Floyd's head off in the early rounds. There was even a moment where he leaned on Floyd and then threw a bunch of, overhand rights and stuff, and Floyd Mayweather's sublime defense was able to get the better of it, man. Just what a great fight, what a great performance. Floyd Money Mayweather, man, he's the best. What a legend. I love Floyd Mayweather so much, man. He's just so good, he's so amazing. And anybody who has even an ounce of criticism for him is just a casual ass-hating ass bitch. So, yeah, great performance from Floyd Mayweather. Without a shadow of a doubt, the pound-for-pound king of boxing, the greatest fighter of all time. And the only fight that makes any sense for Mayweather is the Canelo rematch, because that's kind of like the Master versus the Apprentice. That would be like Darth Vader taking on Darth Sidious. That would be like the Master versus the Apprentice. And yeah, it will be to see which one of them has developed into more of a sublime boxer, because we know that Canelo basically learned those sublime head movement and counterpunching skills from the great Floyd Mayweather when the two guys shared the ring together. And yeah, man, I'm sure Floyd is really proud to see how Canelo has developed, and now that he's beaten the great Logan Paul, it would just be great to see how he does in a rematch against Canelo. That's the only fight I want to see. I'm sure they're going to maybe stick Floyd in with Logan Paul's brother. I don't really see the point in that, because even though Logan Paul's brother is a pretty decent influencer, with many subscribers, who makes a lot of money fighting the likes of Ben Askren, I don't really think that it'll be that interesting, because he's not as big or as powerful as his brother Logan Paul. Logan Paul is like an Adonis. He's got the body of a flipping, Hercules or something. He's a big guy, and if he wasn't fighting the great Floyd Mayweather, then he probably would have won. But again, Floyd Mayweather is so good. He's so amazing. He's such a great fighter. He's such a good counterpuncher. He's got such good defense. He's got such great skill. It's nothing but praise and overwhelming adoration for Floyd Mayweather. Appreciate this man while he's still here, because when he's gone, we're never going to see another like him. So yeah, Canelo rematch, let's see it. Let's see the fight of the century, man. But yeah, that was a great event. Shout out to Logan Paul for his humility. Shout out to Logan Paul for his heart and courage. And shout out to the man Floyd Mayweather for doing it again, the pound for pound king. Thanks for watching. God bless.